Welcome children. Today's session is very special because we are not going to start any new chapter today. Children, we all know that soon after some time you will be having your first semester exams. And in that first semester exam, chapter number 5, that is the fundamental unit of life, and chapter number 6, which is tissue. These two chapters will be included from biology side. Earlier we studied about chapter number 15 also, that was improvement in food resources. That is not included in first semester exam. We are not going to have this chapter further also, because just to reduce your portion, this chapter is omitted from our portion. So for your first semester exam, we will be having only 2 chapters. Out of that 2 chapters, chapter number 5, that is the fundamental unit of life, is already studied by you for periodic test once. So I think you all are very much aware with that chapter. You all have practice with that chapter, so it will not be very difficult for you. So there is another new chapter, which is chapter number 6, tissue. So we need to revise this chapter once again. One more important thing here to mention is that your total marks of science paper in first semester will be 40 marks. That 40 marks paper will include all 3 subjects: physics, chemistry and biology. So now let us discuss some important topics of this chapter number 6, tissues. First of all, when we start the chapter, as I discussed earlier also, that what is tissue or what is the definition of tissue, define tissue. This is a very short question which is very common. So you all should be able to answer this. A group of cells that are specialized to perform a particular function forms a tissue. And tissues are mainly classified into 2 categories, that is plant tissues and animal tissues. We all know about it because these tissues are different. So these are categorized into 2 groups. Let us discuss about plant tissues first. We all know that there are some unique features in plant. They are autotrophic, they have chlorophyll present in them, they can prepare their own food, so they are very, very special. Because of all these special attributions in them, there are certain features which makes their tissues also very special. So let us discuss these features which are related to plant tissues. Plants do not move. They are stationary. Most of the tissues they have are supportive, which provides them with structural strength, mechanical strength, etc. Most of these tissues are dead, as they can provide better mechanical strength than the live ones and need less maintenance. Some of the plant tissues keep on dividing throughout the plant life. These tissues are localized in certain areas of plant, the areas which grow very fast. What are these areas, children? Yes, we have already studied, so you should be able to answer this. Root tip and shoot tip. So what are the special tissues which are present there? It is meristematic tissues. So now let us discuss about the types of plant tissues. Based on the dividing capacity of the tissues, various plant tissues can be classified as growing or meristematic tissues and permanent tissues, which can be further subdivided into various other groups. So here we are broadly dividing plant tissues into 2 groups, that is meristematic tissues, which are growing tissues or dividing tissues, and the other one which is permanent tissue. So let us discuss about meristematic tissues first. Meristematic tissues are responsible for growth in plants. Cells in these tissues can be divide and further divide, and these tissues make a new cells. That is why these tissues are also called as dividing tissues or undifferentiated tissues. Meristematic tissues are of 3 types. Apical meristem. It is present at the growing tip of stem and root and increase the length of these areas. As its name suggests, it is present at the apex of root and shoot. The other one is lateral meristem. It is present beneath the bark and it is responsible for growth in the girth of the trunk. So here you can see both type of meristem. This one is apical meristem, which is shown here in at stem tip or at the shoot apex, and this one other one is your intercalary meristem, which is increasing the girth of the trunk. The third one is intercalary meristem. It is present at the internodes or base of the leaves and increases the length between the nodes. So these are all three common types of meristematic tissues which we have studied in our previous session also. These can be broadly divided into three categories: apical meristem, which is present at the root and shoot apex, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. And these meristematic tissues are present in shoot apex as well as in root apex, because these two parts are continuously growing. Children, you have already studied about meristematic tissues, and meristematic tissues are the tissues which are dividing tissues, which are undifferentiated tissues. Once these tissues stop dividing, they convert into permanent tissues, or the differentiated tissues are called as permanent tissues. These permanent tissues are also categorized into two groups, that is simple tissues and complex tissue. As I told you earlier, that simple tissues are made up of only one type of cell, or all the type of cells which are present in them are same in structure. Whereas in complex permanent tissue, the type of cells with which that tissue is made are of various types. So let us discuss about simple permanent tissues here. This type of tissue is composed of same type of cells, that is why its name is simple. These tissues can be categorized into four types. Let us discuss that again. So the first one is parenchyma simple tissues. The cells of parenchyma tissues are alive. This is very important to note that cells of parenchyma tissues are alive. They are oval, elongated and loosely packed with large intercellular space. Again, very important point here, that there is large intercellular space present in them. It forms a basic packing of tissues and are found throughout the plant body. So here in this diagram you can see that there are cells, and these cells are also having some space, intercellular space here. So these are intercellular spaces which are present in parenchyma tissues. Now let us discuss about the function of parenchyma tissues. They provide mechanical support to the plant body, and the most important function is they store food and nutrients in plant. Now let us discuss about Sclerenchyma tissues. As its name suggests that it is something related to chlorophyll. So the parenchyma with chlorophyll present in them and which performs the function of photosynthesis is called as Sclerenchyma. So it is a kind of parenchyma only, but the thing is that it is little specialized because it has chlorophyll present in them, and it is performing a very specific function of the plant, that is photosynthesis. That is why these are called as Sclerenchyma. Now another type, which is again a modified version of parenchyma, is Sclerenchyma. If you will listen this word carefully, you will come to know that it is something related to air. So in aquatic plants, cells of parenchyma have large air cavities to give buoyancy to the plant and is called Sclerenchyma. So these are the tissues which have big air cavities present in them. So in this slide you can see that big air cavities are present here. Now let us discuss about Sclerenchyma simple tissues. Cells of Sclerenchyma are alive. Important to note here, they are oval and elongated and tightly packed with no intercellular space. Earlier we studied in parenchyma that the cells are loosely packed with large intercellular space. Here the difference is that the cells are tightly packed and there is no intercellular space. They are found below epidermis in leaves and stem. The function of Sclerenchyma tissue is they provide mechanical support to the plant, and they also provide flexibility to the plants so that they can bend without breaking. Now let us discuss about the third type, that is the Sclerenchyma simple tissues. cells of sclerenchyma tissues are dead and they are narrow, elongated, and the cell wall in sclerenchyma tissue is composed of lignin. This is very important, children, that lignin deposition is present in sclerenchyma, and this lignin deposition makes this tissue very hard. And sclerenchyma are found around vascular bundles, veins of leaves, in hard covering of fruits, nuts, seeds, etc. For example, sclerenchyma tissues are found in coconut husk. Children, you must have seen that the husk of coconut or the shell of coconut is very hard because it is made up of sclerenchyma. Not only this, seed coat of seed is also made up of sclerenchyma tissues. It is very hard in nature. So this is a structure of sclerenchyma tissues where you can see simple pit pair is there, and this one is one side there is transverse section of sclerenchyma, other side there is longitudinal section of sclerenchyma tissue, and this diagram is showing that there is lignified thick walls which are present in them, and this lignin which is present around their wall provides stem stiffness or strength. Now here in this slide you can see the section of stem where you can see so many types of tissues, vascular bundles which are present. You can see epidermis, hypodermis, cortex, endodermis, pericycle, phloem, cambium, medullary ray, xylem, vascular bundle, and pith. And in this slide you can see the different types of simple permanent tissues where you can see here this parenchyma tissue with large intercellular spaces, and here also parenchyma tissues, and here you can see another types of tissue, sclerenchyma, chlorenchyma. So that's it, children. In next session we will revise the remaining part of this chapter. Thank you.